I absolutely promised myself that I would never leave a meeting with a feeling in my stomach that something was not right. I was going to find a way to put it on the table. Part of the reason I went comfortably to Vietnam, if I could go help defeat communism, maybe my son, if I was lucky to have one, and my grandson, if he was lucky to have one, wouldn't have to go to war. I later realized that what I really should be thinking was to fight this war for a nation that I love, so that my son, if I'm lucky to have one, will inherit the same nation I inherited and hopefully be willing to fight for that nation. If I was at the National Security Council or at a meeting in the Pentagon, I would always say, okay, if we do this, this is how it's going to impact PFC pace on the battlefield. It was important to me that we always be thinking about the fact that we're in a nice air-conditioned room, well lit, we're comfortable, we got a cup of coffee, whatever we're drinking, but we're making decisions that have to be executed by guys and gals out on the front line, and it was important for me to say that. About 6 months into being vice chairman, when I was in the White House and people there started asking me, how's this going to impact PFC pace? I felt good that we had the right focus. Yes, the strategic mission, but to get the strategic mission accomplished, it's going to be the PFC pacers of the world who are going to make it happen. I remember promising myself that if I was ever in a position of responsibility like that I would tell truth to power. As vice chairman and chairman during those 6 years, every single time I recommended to either the Secretary of Defense or the President that we not do something militarily. It did not happen. Which is not the same as to say every time I made a recommendation that we do something militarily, that it did happen. And it shouldn't have. My responsibility was, if we're going to do this militarily, what's the best military course of action? The nation had much better courses of action than the military. So I was really happy when we didn't use the military. I think if we are going to ask America's moms and dads to lend us their sons and daughters, I think they deserve that our country not look for a fair fight. Prefer not to fight, but if you're going to fight, do so aggressively and as efficiently and as effectively as you can. If you do it, it's not pretty, but you can get back on to being the nation you wanted to be in the first place. Joined the Marine Corps just hoping to be a good Marine. And I got thrown in with an incredible group of young men who sacrificed themselves. In over 40 years, was put into more and more groups of young men and women who were willing to sacrifice themselves. And to end up being the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the world's finest fighting force, serving the world's best nation, is a gift that I can never properly articulate.